All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to Around the Bases. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by the stat guy, Dustin Reese. How's it going, Dustin?
It's going, Chris, and Pride is here. Pride showed up.
What it do, baby? What it freaking do? I hate this job because they got me on standby because we're supposed to get a tornado or something like that. And now I can't go home. But that means I get to spend an hour with you guys uninterrupted. So I'm glad to be here.
So there's a tornado, but you can't go to your house. You got to stay by the school buses. That's kind of messed up.
I mean, I don't even know what the heck is going on. But you know what? I don't even care. I'm getting paid, so I'm chilling right now.
What are they doing? Keeping you guys there in case they let the kids out of school early?
Yeah, they're basically still trying to figure that out. They're trying to figure out whether or not they're going to let the kids out early. And they don't want to basically have us leave and then have to wait for everyone to have to come.
That seems like a lot of work.
I think we lost Pride for a second. But I know Dustin's down in. You're still in Arizona.
Yes, I'll be there. Jesus, what am I? What is the day today? I'm here for like another 16 days yet.
Okay.
Yeah, the Cubs don't play until 7:30 tonight, so I had plenty of downtime this morning.
How have the players? I know you've been down there watching games. How have the players been adapting to the new rule changes?
I guess it depends on who you ask, and depends on what rule change you're kind of referring to. Obviously, the gorilla in the room is going to continue to be the pitch clock, and surprisingly, you would think that the pitchers would have been the ones that were complaining about it the most. But right now, the ones that are complaining about it are not the pitchers. They're not the hitters. It's actually the fielders that are complaining about it. Because you have to take into consideration if a batter lines one out to left field and the left fielder has to make a diving catch to make that play, he throws the ball back into the infield, that pitch clock is already starting before that left fielder can get even back in position.
Yeah.
So right now you have like the hitters, yes, the hitters call time. They got to be in the batter's box at a certain time. The pitchers have to be ready to pitch at a certain time. But now you have fielders are starting to kind of question the whole pitch clock thing, say, if you're going to start the pitch clock, at least wait until we're in the position we need to be in before you start that pitch clock.
I understand that. Yeah. Do you think that by the time spring training's over and we get to the regular season that the players will be more comfortable with the pitch clock and we won't hear as much about it?
I think the players are going to be more comfortable with it, but at the same time, I think the umpires are going to enforce it more that first month of the regular season to kind of make a point that the pitch clock is here to stay and it's not going anywhere. So I think they're going to do everything in their power to maybe enforce it even more than what they've enforced it so far in the spring. And I think that'll just last for a month or so, but the players are going to be used to it. My big thing right now is, and I'd have to look into this because I haven't heard anything about it. When the World Baseball Classic starts next Wednesday, I don't know if there's a pitch clock in the World Baseball Classic.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure if there is or not.
I haven't heard that because you got to remember teams like you have Japan, you have Korea, you have China, and all those teams that play baseball over there that don't have the pitch clock. So I don't know if there is a pitch clock in the World Baseball Classic, and if that's the case, now you have pitchers that are going to be spending 2.5 weeks with a pitch clock, having to go in the World Baseball Classic with no pitch clock, and then they're going to have to come back to spring training and deal with the pitch clock again.
Yeah, that's true. I know that batting averages and runs are up so far in spring training. Do you think that's due to the pitch clock and due to the no shift?
I think it has more to do with the shift than the pitch clock.
Yeah,
I agree.
And that, like, I honestly, I don't think I just think the pitch clock is just there to speed up the game. I agree with that. I just think it's more the shift because remember, you got guys who, you know what I mean? You got guys who always pull the ball, right? So when you know that you got a straight puller at the plate, you can easily just do, like you got third baseman playing shortstop. You know what I mean? That's how it used to be. And now it's to the point where it's like you can't do that So now it's like that's kind of where it's going up. And on top of that too, let me actually retract that a little bit too, because I think the pitch clock kind of contributes a little bit too, because then when they do that, I don't know if you've noticed, but every time a pitcher gives up a run, he takes even longer to get back on the mound to clear his mind. He can't do that anymore. He can't take 4 commercials worth of time to take a break, to step off the rubber for us to go back to commercial break. You know what I mean? So, but if you're going to ask me what's the biggest reason, I think it's that shift, because now you have more opportunity. Go ahead.
I agree. I think it's a shift too, because like you were saying, you got dead pull hitters. You were taking away what would normally be a base hit was now an automatic out almost because of the shift.
And the funny thing is, there is more hits going the opposite way right now too, with a shift being banned,
which is so bizarre. Like I was going through Twitter and I saw that stat. I was like, no way, that's impossible. It has to be impossible. But turns out they eliminated the shift, and now they're actually like hard pullers and now pushing the ball. It's the funniest thing in the world.
Now they
It's
learn
like
how to
counterintuitive. Yeah, it's literally counterintuitive, but it's working because, to your point, Chris, batting average is going up. So it's working, but it's just weird because I saw the same thing Dustin saw, and I was like, no shot, this is real life. I'm like, life is a simulation. But believe it or not, it's actually true. It's wild, bro.
Yeah, you would think that they'd keep pulling the ball.
Right. You would think, but hey. But again, because I heard what you guys were talking about earlier about the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
About the whole pitch clock thing. Here's my thing with that. I don't think I understand the awkwardness with having to be in the World Baseball Classic with no pitch clock and then switch over back here to go back to a pitch clock. Maybe it's just me. I don't think that's as big of a deal as some people are making it out to be. Because maybe it's just me, right? But if I'm not mistaken, if you had enough time to practice without the pitch clock, and then you go to a place with no pitch clock, and then you come back to a place with the pitch clock, it's not like you forgot how to pitch with you can't pitch anymore with the pitch clock. You see what I'm saying?
And
so it's like,
and when they come back, they'll still have a couple weeks of spring training to get back in the groove before regular season.
Exactly right. So it's this thing where, and this is just me. I'm a huge fan of the pitch clock. I think everyone right now who's complaining about the pitch clock are idiots. That's just me.
That's just people wanting to complain because of change.
Yeah, and these are the same people who was deep through the pitch clock idea to begin with, you know. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, no, the pitch clock is bad. No, it's not.
Complain that the game is too slow, and then you try to speed it up, and they want to bitch.
And then you're the bad guy, right? You're the bad guy for trying to speed it up. So it's like, you know. But for me, I understand why the World Baseball Classic doesn't have it, because what Dustin was saying earlier. Korea doesn't have it. Japan doesn't have it. China doesn't have it. No one else has a pitch clock. We're the only.
We just started having it.
Right. Like, we just started the minor leagues. Was it last year that they did it in some low minor league system to see how it would work? But in terms of the majors, this is the first time it's ever happened. So, I mean, maybe if the game speeds up, maybe they'll do it. So maybe in then in the next 2 or 3 World Baseball Classics, it's a possibility there will be a pitch clock. It's a possibility, because eventually, if how it works in the MLB, how I think it'll work, speeding up the game, making it a little more exciting, and and now instead of having to sit there and watch the game for 5 hours, you're now watching it for 2.5. I think everybody else, all the other baseball organizations, I think they'll start doing it. So I do think eventually the World Baseball Classic will have it. Will it be a little awkward for some of the players? Sure. But Chris, you brought it up. When the World Baseball Classic is said and done, you still have a few weeks of spring training. So it's not like you're doing that and then get thrown right into the regular season and they say tough. You know what I mean? Like, you still got time. Now, if you're a pitcher and you're choosing not to go into spring training, now that's on you.
Yeah,
that's on you. If any of these pitchers have a problem with it and they don't use spring training to get their feet wet again, and then they want to complain in the regular season, I'm not going to hear it.
And it seems
I'm
like
not
a
gonna
lot
hear
of it seems like a lot of the batters are having more trouble with the pitch clock than the pitchers. The batters
Because-
getting in the batting box and getting set.
Because they got to be in the they got to be in the batter's box
8 seconds.
at 8 seconds, and the pitchers still have like another 10 seconds left after the batter's got to be in the batter's box.
Which, and honestly, I don't mind that. I don't. And the reason why I don't mind that, Chris, I think I was bringing this up last week. If you don't give the batter any reason to get in the box by a certain period of time, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna milk it. And I'm talking about these batters that are just like not only horrible, but batters who want to manipulate the situation and take advantage of it in late game situations. They'll wait. They will literally wait till the last possible second, get in the batter's box with 2 seconds, and next thing you know, they got a pitch. And so now it's a situation where now the batter can basically do whatever they feel like, step in whenever, and then guess what's going to end up happening? The pitcher's still going to get called the balk, even though the pitcher's waiting for the batter. So they have to do that. And if the batters don't like it, oh well. And respectfully, the ones I've noticed who has the biggest problem with it are the ones who their entire routine is almost as long, if not longer, than a pitcher's. Like, for example, Manny Machado. This dude plays head, shoulders, knees, and toes every single time he goes up to bat. Don't even get me started with Juan Soto. Don't even get me started with that whole Soto shuffle thing. You know what I mean? Like, another player that people say has a problem with it is Bryce Harper. There's another dude who takes a while to get in the box. That's just a while to get in the box.
I can tell you somebody who's really having a difficulty adjusting to the pitch clock, though.
Who?
Yu Darvish.
Oh my God, he can't stand it.
Yu Darvish takes like 25 to 30 seconds between pitches because the guy's got like 15 pitches to choose from, and now it's just like he goes up there and he's like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing right now.
I've been saying this about Yu Darvish for a while. The reason why his inconsistency shows is because the guy looks overwhelmed from the first inning. Like, a lot of times he looks very overwhelmed, and it's because, like, and if you listen to some of the stuff he does, he always talks about how he has an assortment of pitches to choose from. That's great, you know. That's awesome. It's nice you have that nice repertoire. But when you get to the point where you don't know what to do, and you're kind of like,
maybe cut that repertoire down a little bit.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, you're going to have to look in the mirror and be like, all right, look, I'm going to have to start, you know, like, if you want to keep that whole thing, fine, but rotate it, right? Do some extra scouting and see, okay, this team, they can't handle a four seam, right? They can't handle a four seam, so that'll be my fastball, right? They, a 12-6 curve is something that's difficult for them, so I'm gonna have that instead of a straight up curve, right? If I want something slower, I'll throw a change up in there. They don't like a low change up, like, and now next thing you know, you got 3 pitches.
Yeah.
Now you got 3 pitches right now instead of 7 you got to pick from, and now it's a little more manageable. It's more manageable because now all you got to do is pick between one of those 3. And that's why a lot of times Yu Darvish gets in trouble because the dude just gets so overwhelmed. And 90% of the time it's because he's overwhelming himself.
Yeah, like, that's why I forgot who his catcher is now because he's in San Diego. His catcher last year was Caratini before they traded Caratini, but whoever the catcher is now, the catcher can't even use PitchCom for Yu Darvish because he's got so many damn pitches that PitchCom ain't going to pick everything up.
No.
So basically the catcher's got to throw whatever he wants to throw down. Then I remember when Yu Darvish was in Chicago and Caratini was catching him, Caratini would literally just stick his hand down and like wiggle all 5 fingers, and that just basically means throw what you want.
Yeah.
Because there's so many pitches to choose from, there wasn't enough signs for Caratini to give him signs.
And that's the sad part about it.
You could go like fastball, breaking ball, changeup, and like your standard signs, but when he started to get to his cutter, his split change, his slurve, his gyro ball, and everything else he throws, Caratini would just throw like 5 fingers down. That just means throw what you want.
And that makes it tougher on your catcher because then he don't know what's coming. And
that's the thing. Not only does it makes it tougher on him when he's doing that because he's like, all right, this is ridiculous. He's telling, all right, throw whatever you want. Now Yu Darvish is panicking even more Because you Darvish, he's got so much in his repertoire, he doesn't know what to use.
And that can
And-
even affect the defense.
And
Because
Dustin,
your
you can
defense don't know what pitch is getting thrown to kind of expect what might come off the bat. So
right. And on
that can
top of that
affect your
too, Dustin, you probably seen this. How many times has you Darvish and before he even throws the pitch, steps off the rubber, looks at this catcher, and is waiting for him to give him something?
Almost every
And-
pitch.
And it looks like they have a problem with each other. It looks like they're staring at each other like they're about to fight because you Darvish is looking at. You know what it reminds me of? Remember when Madison Bumgarner was with the Giants, and who was it? I think it was Jim West. He threw a ball. He thought it was a strike. Jim West didn't give it to him. He stepped off the rubber, and he's staring at him. And then Joe West takes off his mask, and he's staring at him. And then they're just staring at each other. And then they have a side-by-side thing where one camera is on Madison Bumgarner, the other side is on Joe West. And they're just staring at each other for like 17 seconds, just staring at each other. That's what you Darvish, every single time any catcher gets sick of it and says, yo, do whatever you want. That's how you Darvish looks. He just steps off and he gets mad and he's just staring at them. And he's just like, I'm not doing nothing until you tell me what pitch to use. And then you got the catchers like, bro, you know more pitches than I have fingers and toes. Either you figure something out or you can just do whatever you want and I'll figure it out from there. And that's one of the biggest problems with you, Darvish. That's kind of why no one outside of San Diego, why no one really wanted you like that. Because yes, he's got an amazing repertoire, but the guy doesn't know what to do with it. He doesn't know what to do with it, and it's really sad. You know who else had a massive repertoire? John Lester. He had a huge repertoire.
John Lester?
Yes.
Yeah, he had like 6, but
He couldn't throw the ball. He could throw the ball to first base, but he had all kinds of pitches.
That is true. That we're not gonna talk about that. But he had a large repertoire. But every time you would see him, he would only throw like 3 pitches a game. It's like 3, right? He had his speed.
it was fast. It was fastball, cutter, and change. But then when he got to Chicago, he started throwing a curveball a little bit more.
So for him, it was like a situation where he's like, these are the 3 pitches I'm going in with, and there we go. And I feel like a lot of pitchers, they know 6, 7, 8, 9 pitches that they can consistently throw. But I feel like a majority of them are like, I'm not killing myself with this. I'm just going to let's see who I'm facing. Let's see what the situation is. Let's see what it calls for. I'll walk in with 3 or 4 pitches, and we call it a day. You Darvish can't do that.
3 or 4 pitches, I throw the best, most consistently.
Yeah, that's it. And it's you. I'm telling you right now, man. You Darvish is never the love and admiration he wants. He will never fully get. He will never fully get, and it's because he does it to himself. He does it to himself. To be a great pitcher, you don't have to know 2 or 3 things. But Mariano Rivera only had like what 2, 3 pitches.
He had 1.
Well, if we're gonna be honest, yes,
he had 3 pitches, but he had 1 that he threw like 80% of the time. That was his cut.
Yeah, it was filthy, right? But guess what?
It was more than filthy.
Okay, it was dirty, filthy, disgusting. It was nasty, right? I hated the Yankees, but
his cutter was so dirty that he didn't need another pitch.
No,
he just had him there just to have him there.
Yeah, he only did that just to be like, I feel like doing something new. Swear to God, I feel like that's the only reason.
I feel like throwing a changeup on this one. Okay,
right, but he had a very, very, very small repertoire. Nobody holds that against him. Not a single person goes to Mariano Rivera and go, yeah, you're not the greatest closer of all time because you only really had 1 great pitch and you had 1 solid pitch, and then his quote unquote fastball. I'm convinced they labeled it the fastball. I'm just convinced in all actuality, I'm convinced it was his changeup and he just messed up on the grip. I will go to my grave saying that. I don't care what anybody says. There was never any heat on it, but it's just amazing. Like he only had those 3, but we still call him the greatest closer ever. And Darvish is doing the opposite approach. He wants to be called a great pitcher because he knows, it's like Chris, you'll appreciate this. Remember when Chris Jericho was in WCW and he had the 1001 holds, I think it was?
Yep.
That's Darvish. He wants like 1,001 pitches, and it's like, bro, chill out, man. You know, he's
We were
never gonna
just
get his
talking about-
flowers.
We were just talking about Jericho at WCW the other day.
Yeah, your pops, and I forgot that guy's name.
Marcus.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, him. Yeah, the big white dude. Yeah, I was watching. It was that's really why I brought up Jericho, because I was like, it's a nice way to kind of, connect the circles. But yeah, man. Yeah, bro. You
see
darn
where,
man.
Did you see where the pitch comm for the Twins was too loud? It was Tampa Bay hitters could hear the pitch calls.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
I
the
heard
home
about
plate
that.
umpire could hear it all. It's like, hey, you should be checking that before the game.
And that's another thing too. Like, how that wasn't checked before the game. This is what I think happened. I think it was checked. Maybe there was a malfunction. Maybe someone actually. I don't know what it was. But usually, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please educate me. They usually that's like routine. They always check it before.
I would think so.
Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I wonder if
But-
maybe it was because you're at like spring training, you don't have as many fans, it's not as loud in the stadium. If that had anything to do with it as well.
That's a possibility. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, that is a legitimate possibility. You know what I mean? And if we're gonna iron out any of these problems, it's best to do it in spring training where it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, that was I saw I heard about that. I'm like, isn't that mind you? I wasn't really freaking out because, like I said, it's spring training. But I was like, that's something that should be checked out before. You know what I mean?
I think they'd be checking the sound out, make sure it wasn't too loud before the game, because I mean, as a hitter, you're going to love it up there knowing what pitch is coming every time.
Right, yeah, but the pitchers won't. And mind you, a lot of these pitchers are already complaining. They're already complaining about the pitch clock. So, it's kind of a little awkward situation for them, but it wasn't my team, so I don't care.
Dustin, was that down where you're at? Where that the pitch damn it, the thing they use for signs, the pitch comm was too loud, and the
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah,
so
that was. So
you were
the
there,
pitch comm,
right?
all you do is hit like a little button, and then it's supposed to be where you hit the button, and then the pitcher can hear it and the catcher can hear it. But for whatever reason, whoever screwed up his pitch comm, whenever the catcher would hit the pitch comm, the freaking first baseman could hear it.
damn, it was that loud. Shit.
It was that loud. Like, you could hear it from the dugout, you could hear it from first base, you could hear it from the front row behind home plate. Like, I don't know what happened to that pitch comm, but it was not working because it was not doing the thing that it was designed to do, and that's to keep the signs discreet. Well, every Tom, Dick, and Harry heard what pitch was coming.
Yeah, I knew the umpire and the batter could. Damn, I didn't realize that it was that loud. So, yeah, there had to be some kind of malfunction or something, or somebody.
I would hope so.
Or somebody went in there and said, "Watch, this is gonna be funny," and went and fucked with it.
I would hope so, because like I said, like that's something I feel like they would check before the game.
Yeah, I'm sure they
You know?
test that before the game, make sure it's loud enough.
Before,
not too
yeah,
loud.
but before they even hand it to I'm pretty sure before they give it to the pitcher and the batter, I'm convinced that they kind of test it beforehand. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but again, it's a good thing it happened in spring training. That way, they now can look at it and go, okay, this is what we got to change, et cetera, et cetera. But that's up. And is there not a way to lower it right there on the spot? Like, if it's wireless, there should be like a thing where they can kind of like adjust it down.
Yeah, you think they should be able to fix it?
Yeah, because think about it. You're hearing it like, and Dustin was there, so he can attest to this. He's saying you can hear it from first base. You can hear it from the dugout. If you're hearing, if it's that loud, I don't understand how you don't just go, okay, let's kind of, we're gonna have it kind of synced up to a control board, or have it synced up to an iPad where you can just kind of lower it or whatever the case may be.
Like, yeah, either fix it or or just don't use PitchCom that day.
Right? Because I mean, that's insane. Like that's insane.
You can't put your pitcher in that situation that the batters know what he's throwing. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Because like
got
I said, a lot
these are
of the pitchers
professional hitters. If they know what's coming, they're gonna be able to square it up.
right. And the thing is like PitchCom, right? It was made so that for two reasons: one, to avoid sign stealing, and to quicken the pace of the game.
Yeah, be more
How am I
efficient.
gonna quicken? How am I gonna quicken the pace of the game if I gotta keep fixing it every inning? And if you're gonna go over to the sign stealing thing, yeah, there's no such thing as sign stealing anymore because you're giving it to them. At this point, you're giving like the PitchCom is giving them the sign.
Yeah.
Because now when they hear it, they go, "Oh, okay. Now if I hear this, I know it's gonna be a hanging curve, and I'm holding up on that son biscuit." But
Oh yeah, you let a batter know if it's gonna be a off-speed pitch or a fastball, you're in trouble.
yeah, you're beat. You're beat. So what a time to be alive, though. I'll tell you that right now. It's like I said,
At least it was only
I'm
spring training, though.
right. That's why I'm not gonna go too crazy on it. It was in spring training, and they did say they're gonna test all this stuff out in spring training. So if there's any hiccups, they can address it there and make sure it's taken care of. So that way, come regular season, they'll try to keep the mistakes down to a minimum. So I'm not gonna go crazy on that, but they need to figure something out where it doesn't have to be anything extensive. All they need to do is just get like an iPad, have it both synced up to that, and then just have just one thing where you can just control the volume. That's it. You know what I mean? Just something that simple. Because that's if that happened in a regular season game, oh, all hell's breaking loose.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah, they have to have some kind of plan for if something like that happens, how to fix it quickly. Because, or I guess you just don't use, like I said, you just don't use PitchCom the rest of that game if you're having that problem. Dustin, do you know was they able to like fix that, or did they do that the whole game? How did that work?
They were able to get it back, but he was not able to use it through the first 3 innings.
Okay, so they
So I
were
mean, at
able to
that
fix
point,
it.
yeah, but at that point, though, if you're going 3 innings without pitch count, at that point, what's the point of even having it back? Just be like, we'll just go back to the signs for the rest of this one.
Yeah.
So let's just scrap the plans of the pitch com, and we'll just do signs for this game. It's spring training. Who cares if I serve up 5 beach ball home?
I think he's back. you cut out there at the end.
Oh yeah, I said if you're gonna go 3 innings without using pitch com, like what's the point of even using it the rest of the game? It's spring training, so who the hell cares if you serve up 5 beach ball home runs at that point, anyways?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm with you.
You're literally going there to get in shape, get it ready for the regular season, and to pretty much practice pitching. And if you ask, especially the veteran pitchers who've gone through spring training now for 10 years, when they go to spring training, obviously you're throwing your fastball because it's your primary pitch for 95% of the pitchers. But the ones other than that, a lot of the pitchers in spring training are working on the pitches that they don't even use.
Yep.
No, that's true.
Just to see if they can make certain pitches break differently. And if they do, then it's something they want to try in the regular season. But if they don't, then it's just like, okay, well, we'll stick with my 3 pitches that I had and roll with it from there.
Yep. And I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna go too crazy. It's only spring training, so I'm like, you know what? I get it. It's this is one of those situations where they told us from the beginning, look, this year we're gonna be trying some new things in spring training to iron out all the bumps and stuff like that. And I knew there was gonna be a problem, so it's okay. I'm good. But where I'm gonna be upset is if the MLB sees this, does nothing, and then it happens again in the regular season. Like if they don't do anything to fix it, then it's like, okay, so what's the point? Then I'm gonna just be like, if you're not gonna fix it, just take out pitch comp completely. Then you might as well just take it out completely. But we shall see what they'll do. We shall see.
You think with these new bases that's going to affect the base stealing numbers?
I think it goes up. Only because like
I think it goes up, but at the same
okay, I thought I was going mental. I swear to God, I thought I was going insane. Cause like that's indeed all. Just in case we can't hear you, brother.
Yeah, he all of a sudden boom.
Because like yeah, there it is. Okay, there. All right, you're back. Go ahead.
So I think stolen basing will go up a little bit, but at the same time, I don't think it will because with the pitch clock, pitchers can only throw over to first base twice. So let's just say a pitcher doesn't want to throw over to first base. That base leader is going to have to guess right. And if they guess wrong, they're picked off.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. I do. But if we're going to be honest, it's not like they picked off, they go to pick off anyway, right? Like, we also got to remember the reason why they introduced that pickoff rule isn't because they were picking off a lot. It was just in case what they were concerned what pitchers would do to try to get more time is wait till the end and then try to pick someone off. Just do like a vain pickoff attempt, just so that way they could reset the clock. So like, I don't think that the two pickoff rule, I don't think that's really gonna matter for most cases, right? I think the only time that'll kind of really hamper anybody is when you've seen those times, like obviously probably like the 3 or 4 times of the entire year where a pitcher to play games with whatever speed demon is on the bag to play games with them would throw it over to first 4, 5, 6 times in a row, enough for the crowd to boo them. Outside of that, I don't think that really will matter. And with the bigger bases, I do think, now granted, I'm not saying it's going to go up exponentially. Let me just get that out the way. I don't want y'all thinking that we're about to have like, multiple guys with like, 40, 50, 60 swipe bags, I ain't going to say that, but I do think it'll go up a little bit because now, think about it, with how guys were stealing the bag before, swiping bags before, it was only that one step that basically determined, right? That jump, right? If you got a good jump and you got that good step, you're good. You were going to be safe. Now that they increased the base size, I honestly think if you really look at it, it's the same as a step now. So now I have kind of half a foot here where I can kind of, have a little bit of leeway here, right? When I'm at first leading off, I have about another half foot that I can kind of reach when I'm going to swipe second. You know what I mean? Like, I could do that. Plus, on top of that, too, it might end up doing it because some of these pitchers, you know how they get, man. Some of them get nervous. And in these, I think there will be a couple rare instances where they pick them off twice. And then the guy just has a free pass to second, for lack of a better word, and it's just going to determine, like, can your fastball get to the catcher and can your catcher's pop time beat me getting second? But like I said, I think that'll be like a rarity. I don't think that'll be all that often. I do think it goes up. I do genuinely believe that because we got some speed demons in the league right now. So, and some of them were brave enough to try it now. Imagine with a bigger base size, like they're gonna try to go crazy. Don't be surprised if you see a few guys hit the ball, and instead of going for a double, don't be surprised to see guys literally just casually joggle to first and then try to sweep the bag after that. Don't be surprised if you see that.
Yeah, I think you'll definitely see the attempt numbers up. Some to do with the pitch clock, like with the pickoff rule. Now, a question on that: do they have to? Is there a certain time in the pitch clock where they can't go to first base?
No, so you can go whenever, but so you can go like if there's only 1 second left and you want to pick off, you can.
Okay, but you can only do it twice.
Exactly. So that's kind of like their kind of thing on where it's like
pitcher, you're only resetting the pitch clock twice.
Exactly. So like after you hit that second time, if you do it again, Dustin, check me. I think that's a balk, right?
If you do it for more than the 2 times? If you do it that third time, you don't get them?
Yes.
Yeah, if you do it the third time, you don't get them, it's a balk.
Right. Okay. And then, if I'm not mistaken, if you
But here's the thing, though, too.
But if you get them if you do get to pick off, the out counts.
Yeah, pick off counts if you get him on that third one. But if I'm a pitcher and I've already thrown over there 2 times, at that point I'm gonna say fuck it and just do it anyways, because it's gonna be like either the guy steals second on me or goes based on a balk.
I mean, and that's the thing. That's like another thing I was gonna bring up too. Like, if you already did it the second time, he's probably already gonna go. So I might as well just throw it, get him out, because if I get him out, there's no consequence.
Yeah.
And if I'm the pitcher too, if I don't, it won't matter.
And if I'm the pitcher too,
big lead.
And if I'm the pitcher too, the first 2 times I throw over there, I'm gonna just use a mediocre move. And then that third time, knowing that if I get him, I get him. If I don't get him, it's a balk. That's when I'm going with my best pickoff move on that third shot. Because chances are that third shot, that base runner is going to be leaning anyways, because he knows that you can't go over there anymore after that third time. So chances are you're going to have that base runner leaning on that third pickoff attempt. So if you're a pitcher, don't show him your best move on that first 2. Just do 2 little soft throws over there to keep him honest. And then on that third one, go all out with your best move and try to get him.
And I got a dip. But my last thing on this, I will say this. When it comes to the pitcher picking off that third time, to Dustin's point, you can go ahead and use 2 mediocre moves. But if I don't if correct me if I'm wrong, even if it ends off in a chase down, right, when you got the bat runner in a pickle, you still don't get that balk. So probably pictures, y'all gonna be seeing a lot of that. But it's been a pleasure, bro. I'll talk to y'all later. Maybe I'll swing by here and, tomorrow or something. But I'll talk to y'all later. Be safe, Dustin. Be safe, Chris.
All right, bro. Has there been any surprises that you've seen maybe down there since spring training's gotten kicked off?
Oh, sorry, Chris. What was that?
Has there been maybe surprise players or other surprises besides like the rule differences that's happened down there since you've been down there for spring training?
Any big surprises?
Yeah.
Not really. I'm honestly surprised that you're seeing as many minor leaguers play right now as you are. Mainly because with the World Baseball Classic coming up, I thought you'd see a lot more veterans try to get in as many at bats as they could now before they split up. And who knows? Maybe you'll see that the next 4 or 5 days leading up, because I think March 7th is when all the World Baseball Classic players head out to their respective training facilities for that. So maybe over the next 3-4 days, you might see more of the everyday players starting to get like full 3-4 game at bats or whatever. But yeah, I thought you'd see more of the major league players the first half of spring training, and then obviously when the World Baseball Classic is going on, that's when I thought you'd see more kind of like that split squad approach. But there really hasn't been too much surprises to me out so far on that aspect. Next week is going to be very intriguing because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to have a lot of the World Baseball Classic teams actually facing regular teams. So the Cubs play Team Canada on Tuesday. I believe the Brewers play Mexico on Monday. Team Japan plays a couple teams in Arizona, and that's kind of going to be cool because they come to the States to get the players that they need to get to bring them back to where they got to go. So I think that's kind of why they're doing it this way. But it's going to be interesting to see how the major league rosters stack up against these international rosters that are pretty much just all all-star teams anyways. But yeah, and the thing that I want to say about the bigger bases before we kind of got off of it a little bit, the reason for these bigger bases was they wanted to try to prevent as many injuries as possible. Yeah. And yet, look what happened to Gavin Lux.
Yep.
Gavin Lux rounds second, heads into third, steps on the side of the base wrong, and now he tears his ACL and he's done for the year. So it doesn't really matter the size of the base you have. You still got to step on it correctly. You still got to avoid the other player that's going to be doing other things too. So bigger bases or not, you still have that injury aspect you got to take into equation on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand what they were shooting for as far as trying to keep maybe some of the collisions down when the guys are sliding in, but still, I mean, when you're going that fast and you're just worried about getting to the base. You're not as worried much about getting to this part of the base. You know what I mean? Yeah, you might slide to the outside to try to avoid a tag, but you're just worried about touching that base before they touch you, and you really don't care where. So I mean, yeah, I think the size helps a little bit, but I did one thing you brought up about Luxo. Could the bigger base had something to do with that? Just not being used to hitting that bigger base yet. You know what I mean? Learning where that spot is.
Yeah, I
Because
think it could. I think it could because you make a base 8 inches bigger.
you got to remember these guys have been playing on the same size base basically their whole lives.
So you make a base 8 inches bigger. Let's just say the old base, he misses that base by 6 inches. Now you cover that 6 inches that he would have normally missed it by. Now he's hitting the base by 2 inches still.
Yeah.
So there's a very good chance that he was rounding the bases like he typically would on those smaller bases. He just didn't account for that extra 8 inches and just stepped wrong. And you see it in football, you see it in basketball, you see it in pretty much every sport out there that all it takes is for you to step wrong on anything, and that could be your knee, that could be your ankle, that could be anything. And it just sucks that it happened, but I'm not necessarily for the bigger bases at second and third. I don't really think you needed bigger bases at second and third. I'm for the bigger base at first base.
Just avoid the close.
Because you put a bigger base at first base, there should be no controversial calls whether the person was inside the baseline or not anymore. Yeah. You have a bigger base where the first baseman is on one side of that base, the base runner's on the other side of that base. If the base runner hits the other side of that base at any point, he's out of the baseline, and you shouldn't have any arguments on it at all. Yeah, that's the one base that I was okay with them making bigger. I just don't think they should have made all three bases bigger because there's no reason to have second and third as a bigger base.
Because kind of like the safety bags you see in some little leagues and stuff.
That's kind of what I thought they were going to do when they said they were talking about bigger bases. That's the kind of base that I expected to see at first base, but nope, they just made them 8 inches bigger.
I'd have been more fine with that than changing the size of all the bases. If you wanted to make first bigger, because that's the most really where you see most of collisions at anymore anyway.
Yeah,
because I know when I umpired, there was a lot of people that didn't like the idea of the safety bag for the kids, and I'm like, it's awesome because it's teaching the kids to hit the outside part of first base anyway as they get older, but it safety wise, it helps a lot because it does, especially in little league. It avoids a lot of collisions at first base because you have the runner hitting that bag on the other side. And like you said, it also helps with baseline calls as well. It makes that even easier.
Right.
I umpired for years, and that was where in little league, it's where you saw most of your guys get hurt by collisions. It wasn't like at second or third because you had the slide rules. So it was mainly at first base where you would just see a runner hit the inside part of the bag and hit the first baseman's leg, and hell, that's when you saw most of your injuries, really. But yeah, making second and third bigger, I didn't see the reason.
The only reason why I understood second base was because of the whole turning a double play when you see that shortstop kind of come across the base where all they do is kind of touch the corner of it, and then you have the base runner kind of sliding and trying to take that second base or the shortstop's feet out.
Yeah.
And then they put that rule into the play last year where you can do a slide like that, but you still have to be within arm's reach of that base. But then it became a question as what's arm's reach of the base because everybody has different length arms. So you could have a guy sliding an extra foot out compared to somebody else because they have longer arms. So you make the space 8 inches bigger. There should be no controversy if this guy's too far out of the base because now everybody should be hitting this base if it's 8 inches bigger. And if you're not hitting that base, then you're way too far out of the baseline when you're sliding.
Yeah. That's the thing. You want to take out the gray area in them rules. So if you have the bigger base, it's not an arm length. If you're outside, if you don't hit that base, you're outside that base. It's an out, or you interfered with that guy trying to make that play.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think the biggest the rule that's going to have the biggest effect, I think, is going to be the shift, just because you're going to see more base hits.
Yep.
Uh, because I think after you get through like you said, maybe the first month of the season, I don't think the pitch clock is going to be as big a deal as it's right now. I think after you get through that first month of the regular season, you're not going to hear as much about it. Players will be more used to it, and it'll start operating a lot more smoother.
Yeah.
Oh man. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about that we haven't hit?
No, I don't think so.
How many games you going to watch today?
I just had I think I'm just gonna do the Cubs game tonight at 7 o'clock Central Time, which is like 5 out here. This weekend I don't know what I'm gonna do, but next week I'll have whatever I take in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I head to Phoenix Thursday, and then Friday is when I have the World Baseball Classic games up at Chase. So I'll have Team USA's pool up there. So Team USA will have Great Britain, Mexico, Venezuela, Canada, and one other team. I forget who the other team is. So I'll have like 2 games a day up there.
How many games are there today there in Arizona?
14 against like opposing teams, and then there is 2 additional games where I believe Diamondbacks have a split squad game, and one of their teams is playing Italy. And then I believe the White Sox have a split squad game, and one of their teams is playing Mexico. So technically 16 games.
Weather nice down there?
No,
I know the other day you said it was
I mean, nicer than back home, yeah. But you've had nicer weather than I've had down here. We haven't even had above 70 yet since I've been down here. Yesterday it was 61. Right now it's 43 degrees outside right now. Granted, it's still only 7 in the morning out here, but it's still only in the 40s, and it's only supposed to get up to like 59 today. So, I mean, this is not Arizona weather. This is not the Arizona weather I signed up for.
That's I came to Arizona and damn weather from home followed me.
Yeah, this is not the Arizona weather I signed up for. It's supposed to start getting in the 70s by Sunday. But yeah, the last week it's been pretty much between 58 and 63.
Damn.
I mean that's a lot nicer than back home, but still when you come to Arizona you think it's going to be
Yeah, you're thinking
70s, 80s and super warm, and it hasn't been.
75, 80.
Yeah, and it definitely has not been warm at all.
I was gonna say we were up close to 70 the other day. Today I think we're in the 50s right now. It was like 40, 39 or 40 this morning when I got up. But it's about 10 o'clock here now. I think it's up in the 50s now.
Yeah.
It's raining, which that's, if we get some nice weather without rain would be real nice.
Yeah, we've had a lot
We've
had a lot of rain. We've had a lot of rain at night.
That's the problem with trying to play baseball like around here this time of year. You never know what the weather is going to do. It could be 30 or and snowing, or it could be 70.
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain at night around here, so it's been interesting. They've said that this has been the coldest spring that they've had probably in recent memory down there. In terms of spring training weather-wise, where you have obviously people from up north, 50, 60 degrees this time of year is nothing. Like they'll take that over what they normally get, but then you have obviously the people that live in Arizona. You go watch a game now. They're in winter hats and sweatshirts. They're not used to this kind of weather this time of year.
Oh, I watched some of the Red Sox game yesterday while we were doing the afternoon show. They were killing the Phillies.
Oh yeah.
I didn't. That's about all I watched yesterday. I didn't watch a whole lot yesterday. Reds the night before scored fucking eight runs in the ninth inning, and then give up 10 runs in the ninth inning, and then give up 4 runs in the bottom of the ninth to lose the damn game.
Jeepers.
It's like even when They have been hitting the ball better than I thought they would. They've been scoring some runs, but a lot of it's going to depend on how, I think, our relief pitching.
Yeah.
But all right, you got any final thoughts before we get out of here for today?
No. You're doing your show tonight, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Just turn into Gonzo show tonight with Tony, and I don't know if Jay is going to be on there, but Chris does a great job on his show for those who have not been able to watch it yet. So make sure you turn into that tonight, as well as a lot of Chris's interviews with his wrestling guys that he knows, and just everything Chris does for wrestling. It's great what he does. There's not too many people that cover wrestling like Chris, so it's nice to have someone that does that.
I appreciate that, Dustin. Well, my final thought: check out the ASAP Network new mobile app. You Android users can get it at the Google Play Store. ASAP Network. Also find it on Roku and then also on Amazon. If you have a Fire Stick, go to your apps, ASAP Network. You can find it there. Should be coming out for Apple users here real soon, so be on the lookout for that. But go check that out. We'll have the ASAP Afternoon Blitz at 1 p.m. Eastern today. Easy Money, a sports betting show at 3. See, no interviews today. So then Gonzo Sports Room tonight at 11, like Dustin was saying. And then Sunday we'll have a live pro wrestling show. We'll be live streaming on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter at 4 p.m. Eastern. Summit Pro Wrestling. So we'll have a little bit of a busy weekend, but
that's what I was going to tell you. It's not really a final thought. One of the spring training games got delayed for 45 minutes yesterday. I can't remember what game it was because there was a diamondback rattlesnake in the dugout.
Wow. It took them 45 minutes to get it out.
I mean, who's going to try to grab that thing?
Yeah. Good luck trying to find.
They had to call like the wildlife patrol people that are out in the area to come and get it. But I mean, it's a 30-minute drive for them from wherever they are.
Yeah,
there ain't nobody in their right mind that's gonna go in the dugout and try to grab that thing.
No, that's funny. 45 minutes for a snake. I wonder how often that has happened, like at spring training. No,
it doesn't actually happen that much. The backfields it does when they do like they're practicing like the first 2 weeks of the spring training where it's just pitchers and catchers reporting, and then obviously the hitters come back. So before spring training games start up, it happens a lot more because their players are out on the backfield. They're closer to where the desert sand isn't just kind of off in the distance a little bit. So you see more snakes and things like that. But the big one that you have to deal with, which I'll be on the lookout tonight just because I'm going to be a little further north tonight, you get coyotes for the night games. And living out, like with the people that live out here, they say that they wake up in the morning, have breakfast outside, and you have mountain lions and coyotes just chilling in your backyard like a deer up north. So it's nothing It's nothing out of the ordinary for them. But you're playing a baseball game at 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night in Arizona, and yes, you have the bleachers that people sit in, but then you have like all those grass seats where the mountains are behind you. You have a mountain lion or a stinking coyote kind of just wandering out there. It gets kind of little eerie out there.
Oh yeah, I know around here we have you have coyotes. You got to worry about like your little dogs and stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be chilling watching a baseball game, look over my shoulder, and there be a fucking mountain lion or a coyote standing there. Also, wouldn't want to walk in a dugout and there be a damn rattlesnake either. I don't know. I remember when I was little in Texas, walking out my aunt's house and there being a big ass snake outside. My uncle grabbed me, put me back in the house. I've always lived where I've lived here in Indiana. Never have to worry much about the big snakes like that.
Yeah,
don't see them very often around here unless somebody has one as a pet. But all right, well, you enjoy your day of baseball. I got 3 more shows today. Show Sunday. Next 2 months, man. I got like 5 shows in March, or well, actually 5 shows in March, and then like 6 in April that were on the weekends. So we're next few couple months are slammed.
Well, it's going to be that time of year.
Yeah, and then May, I'll be doing. We're going to be at the Comic Con, Indianapolis Comic Con for wrestling, and we're going to be live streaming shows from there for 3 days. So that's going.
Nice.
That should be fun. We just found out about that. I'm waiting on more information so I can start advertising about it.
Yeah.
But hell, there's like, that's a that Indianapolis Comic Con is huge. There's all kinds of people that go through there. So it should be good exposure. But no, we thank everybody for watching. We'll be well. I don't know if we'll be back on Monday, but depends on what Dustin's schedule is down there at the spring training. But we'll let you know. We might be back Monday. I'll let you guys know once Dustin gets his schedule together, knows what days he can do it. We'll put out something what days we're gonna have a show for next week, and then. Like I said, join us today at 1 p.m. Eastern for the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. We appreciate everybody watching, and we'll see you guys next time.